On this episode of the After the Timeout podcast, we welcome Lauren Gaudette, head JV and freshman football coach and throws and javelin coach at Windham High School. And she is also the head JV boys basketball coach at Nashau South High School in New Hampshire. We talked to Coach Gaudette about coaching male athletes as a female coach, coaching through obstacles, and her inspiring life story. As always, thank you for listening to After the Timeout.
All right, on today's episode, we are joined by Lauren Gaudette, who is a coach of all coaches and of all seasons. Coach, first of all, thank you for jumping on with us. And we wanted to start with the opening tip, which is kind of your journey. You have a unique story and you have overcome a lot of obstacles. So if you kind of just want to share a little bit of your story with our listeners.
First of all, I want to thank you guys for having me on. You guys had some great guests and really my honor, and I'm humbled to be on the show tonight. But for the opening tip, I've had a really interesting life. I was born with severe disabilities, basically day one. And basically the doctor told my mother she's probably not going to amount to anything. It's actually be a vegetable. And I guess I must have took that to heart or something, but no, I've definitely overcome a lot of things. And then I was a Special Olympic athlete since I was 8 years old. And I did that for almost 20 years, every sport, golf, floor hockey. I did cross country skiing for a couple of years, track and field, bowling. I still love bowling. Any sport that I could do, and I still golf. Golf is my big thing, but I still do it. I've always been competitive. And then when I was in middle school, I had a gym teacher who happened to be coaching football at the high school. And he saw how much I love football, because I watched a lot of football on the weekend. But when you're in the hospital a lot like I was, the kids' shows ain't on the weekend. I would watch all the football games, the baseball games, whatever. So after that, he invited me over to the office one day and we played a game of like Madden. And he's like, well, when you get to high school, you need to be a manager. So I did. My sophomore year, I went to high school my sophomore year with the manager, and I've been coaching football ever since. Graduated high school in 2007. I ended up coaching football at my alma mater for quite a few years after that. And then a few years after that, I was still playing basketball. And I asked the coach, Mike, can I coach basketball too? So he's like, yeah, sure. And so I got to coach basketball like 2-3 years after I graduated. And then the whole time I was coaching track the whole time, because I threw discus and javelin in high school. And my coach is like, you're gonna come coach for me? Okay. And so I've been coaching ever since. I've had a couple stops along the way, in football, in basketball. I actually was at the same school for a couple of years, and then I left to where I am now, which is at associate assistant varsity head coach, and the head JV freshman coach for Windham basketball. The head JV coach right now at Nashau South, my alma mater, and then I'm actually just started coaching track at Windham. So that's where I am now. And if you look me up on my Twitter, I did post a biography channel news thing that was done on me about 3-4 years ago. So if you want an even more detail about what I went through, you can click on that. So that's where I am right now, but it's kind of a long-winded answer, I guess.
You are definitely busy, Coach. So I wanted to transition. So you're coaching everything, you played everything. Talk about communicating with today's athlete, right? Especially football. Football, communication's really big. Every sport, football, you got to have it right? You got to have the play right. Know what route you're running, know what blocking scheme, whatever it may be. And communication with today's athletes has changed quite a bit, probably even since all of us were younger, right? There's social media, there's all this stuff. So maybe like some of the things you've just noticed about the changes in how coaches and athletes are communicating, and maybe some of the keys, especially for someone switching from multiple sports, right? Communicating with athletes of all different kinds of sports.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to communication in general, I think it comes down to two things, and they don't involve any communication, and that your authenticity to being yourself and also how you connect with them. I think a really thing is that, some people call it, being disrespectful, I'm putting quotation marks here. You have to earn their right. You have to earn their trust to be able to teach them and to communicate with them. And that's like my thing from day one. Hey, how you doing? But I think if you have that type of connection, then it'll be very easy to communicate with them. And especially like you said with social media, their mind can be off this and they have to worry about this now and worry about that. If you can just have their connection and have their focus, I really don't think communication has changed all that much. I just think it's their attention and their focus and be like, okay, coach, I want to listen to you. I'm listening to you. And then also, are we listening to them? That's my big key. I'm listening to them like, okay, what do you think about this? And maybe look at questions. I think a lot of things is like, they're sometimes afraid to ask, coach, what does this mean? I'm so big on terminology and communication. Like I do walkthrough every week in football. And I need to do that more in basketball. But and then also with my throwers, like I go to and talk about, okay, this is what I mean when I say this. This is what I mean when I talk about this. And I think it's sort of I don't want to say it's a blank statement, but I think sometimes because we're not working on terminology enough, or we only do it once, they're not going to remember all that in 2-3 weeks time. So I don't want to say people aren't doing it. I think sometimes they're not making sure that, and I've done this myself. I had to be like, okay, I haven't talked about this in a couple of weeks. I need to talk about it again. So I think once you sort of have the connection, and then once you're able to explain your basic core philosophy and your basic core things about the sport, then it's going to be very easy to communicate. I don't think the actual process of communication have changed. Our games have been so over-structured now to extent. Like everything has a name, everything does this. Not most of us can agree on what it is. So I think once you kind of get the terminology down and get the connection down, you can communicate with anybody. That's my.
I really like what you said about just being your authentic self and building relationships. I think those are really key to any kind of communication with any kind of young people. With that being said, one of the big things for me as somebody that's studying with their master's degree in social work is athlete mental health. And I think mental health is such a key topic today in this day and age, especially. Kind of talk to our listeners a little bit about maybe some things you do to kind of promote mental health within your athletes, and then also kind of some things you do to just make sure your athletes are doing okay during the season, because it's a stressful time.
It is, and I'm gonna kind of call back to a past episode. You talked to my good friend Coach Gaudette and Coach Kavanaugh of Essential Coaching. I talk to Coach Kavanaugh almost every week, and I really enjoy talking with him. And they talk about having a climate, not just a culture, but a climate of psychological safety. And I think you have to be that way. And I think kind of start with us being okay. Hey, maybe there's some days I'm not doing well. Like I will come to practice and hey, I had a rough day today. Like I'm not afraid to say I'm having a rough day, or I had a frustrating day at work. Like if they see that this strong, tough person in front of them having a bad day too, that right there will just be almost calm a lot of guys. And I can talk to them and say, hey, what's going on? And I think like that way, and that's sort of being that sort of authentic piece. Then once they know that they can talk about it with you, I think that's the whole thing. So many kids and even adults nowadays, myself included, we feel like if we talk to the person in front of us, is not going to understand what we're going through, even though we all have. I'd probably say most of us, if not 95% of all, had a feeling that someone else had had, and it's part of that thing. It's part of that where, do I want to talk about this? Do I need to talk about this? And I think once we kind of get rid of the question of, yes, we can talk about it, we should talk about it, I think that's going to be a big first step. But there's so many different messages going out there nowadays. And, I'm constantly learning about mental health all the time. And the one thing that changed my life on it was reading What Made Maddie Run. I don't know if you guys have read that. I highly recommend that book. If you have not read that book, buy it now. I mean, right this second, go to Amazon, buy it. I cried after reading that book. Because it had an impact on me. I'm thinking, I hope I've never had my athletes feel that way. And I was talking about, listening. Like, I think a lot of the kids are giving us those hints and clues, and they're talking to us about it. Maybe they're joking about it. Like, I mean, how many times do you all laughed about something like that? But are they really being serious about it? They're laughing it off. So I think sometimes we need to, like, not just listen, but hear them. I think, and also look at their body language. I'm a huge body language fan. I love reading about body language, and I've caught a lot of different body languages over the years. So, hey, right? Come here. And then I would bring them over a meeting, after practice, middle of practice, whatever it is, and stuff like that. When we talk about communicating, I think majority of time they are communicating to us, but we have to be like, do I need to talk about this? Do I want to talk about this with them? And I'll check in. Hey, how you doing? So I think there has to be, I think there's a lot of communication on both ways. Are we listening to each other? Me to them and them to me. And that's basically how I try to gauge how they're doing for the day and how they're doing for that practice. So
Real quick, Coach, before I know Todd wants to move on to the next question. What was that book? What
made Maddie run?
What made Maddie run? All right, thank you, Coach.
It was about a female cross country run, I think, at a UPenn. And that was Spain, I think, to work for ESPN. Had like access to her phone and her email and her computer, and literally like gone through everything. You kind of get like that, and and I actually have the book behind me. I have a bookshelf behind me here. It's on that, and I want to say there's Spain. It could be somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, what made Maddie run? I think it should be, if I were to create a course on coaching, that book is first book of the semester, or at least in the first semester somewhere. Yeah, and it's really, it's an insight that I think every coach should look at.
So I'm gonna flip it a little bit here because I think this question ties in. So you're talking to your athletes, and you're reading body language, and you're like, hey, something's not right. Right now, we kind of have to work through that. When you never know, like I always look at it as you may see it as it's not like a big deal, but it might be a big deal to them. So how can we help our athletes develop, some resilience and ways to deal with adversity? And I would say same thing for coaches too, right? Because a lot of times, like you said, has to be the big, strong, person in the front of the room, and they don't necessarily let on that, hey, I got stuff going on at home, my kids, work, whatever it may be. So what are some of the things you do with your athletes and maybe your colleagues to build some of that, first of all, like resilience, right? Because that's a big, and then how skills to deal with adversity.
I think sort of dealing with adversity, it's finding a way to, I'm trying to find a way. I don't want to use the word like compartmentalize, like that sounds like an evil word to me, but like sometimes dealing with adversity is just listening to them. Sometimes they just need somebody to talk to. And once they get that off their chest and that weight is off their shoulders, they can keep walking forward. My thing is just take one step forward at a time. Put one foot in front of the other. That Christmas movie, I love that stuff. But then they'll be walking out the door. And you have to have, sometimes you don't know what to say. And sometimes that's fine. That's say, hey, you know what? I'm here for you. You have anything else? Text me. I've had those midnight, 1 a.m. texts. They hey, coach, this is that. I'm like, okay, I don't sleep much. So, and it's that way. And, sometimes sort of teaching that, okay, I got this going on. Okay, how can we focus sort of on basketball? And how can we, how can I use it that's not impacting me as much, and then be able to deal with it, have somebody else actually help them deal with it later. I'm not a trained therapist. I would like to be eventually one day maybe, but sometimes just saying, hey, I got this going on, and they're telling you that, sometimes that's worth its weight in gold to know that they're not keeping that secret to themselves, which for a lot of the cases I've had, they're keeping it even from their best friends, or maybe only their best friends know because they've seen it. Yeah, not saying you have to counsel them or anything, but it's like, talk to them, say, okay, hey, how you feeling today? How can you help them get through their day? And everything's so different. It kind of depends on what goes on. But yeah, I think just listening is the best thing you can do. Okay, if you don't know how to answer whatever question it is, and make sure everybody on the team in the circle that you need to talk to is involved. I'm a JV coach, so I haven't really had major situations. Usually my boss handled that, but I've had conversations with guys about what's going on at home. Okay, this happened today. I go, okay, well, because I don't practice at 6:30 at night. So, yeah, my number one tip is sometimes you have to be there and just listen. They don't have to say anything. You can just say, hey, I'm here for you. My thing I say every day is I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. And I say it to them every day when I can. Just to kind of have that thing, and and that hopefully I am helping them at the end of the day, which it's something I constantly think about.
I think you mentioned something important too, of the simple thing of just checking in, right? It's not just coaches, but friends, family members. I think it's just a good life thing. Just check in with the people you care about. So I want to transition a little bit now to the coaching aspect. And this was interesting to me because you're involved in coaching so many different things, and very different things. Football is very different from basketball, and throws and track and field is very different from any of that, right? There's a lot more physical technique and things like that, right? Where you have to be on point. So I wanted to talk to you about your coaching education and your learning, and increasing your knowledge in those things. What are some of the things you do, maybe besides clinics and things like that? Because we all kind of do that, but what are some things you really like to do to find that information and then carry it on to your programs?
So my thing is, I don't do clinics actually. I don't have time. Football clinics in the spring. I'm coaching in the springtime. I can't go to Boston when I have a meet the next day. Right. But I absolutely loved when we were all quarantined. Those online clinics, I bought those $25 tickets. I probably spent $200 in ticket type of thing, and be able to watch the replays. Yeah, we want to be off the Zoom, but I need the Zoom. I can't go anywhere. So I really love that. I love going on YouTube. I would type it and be like, I want to learn about this today. And on my YouTube subscription list, I have two separate lists, basically. I have my music thing, and then I have all my sports things. Seriously, I found somebody who recorded all of the Finnish basketball clinic. I found the Slovenian Basketball Association. I found FIBA. FIBA did a whole bunch of clinics back in the day. I found all those. I watched a bunch of those. It's amazing what you can find on the internet. So I just, usually what I do is, let me say, track season right now. I actually work a bit more on football in the springtime. So I'm getting ready for football. And then once the summer rolls around, I start looking at the basketball. I still have my little routine that I do. But also what I like to do is take one specific thing, whether it's a philosophy, it's a coach, it's a specific defensive system, offensive system. I just focus on that. Like one year I did the dribble drive. I literally got every dribble drive stuff I could get my hands on. I had enough money in my personal development stuff, and I bought all the Vance Wahlberg stuff. So I kind of do that. One year I just studied the wing T full out because we had 3 teams in our division that run the wing T. So I know a lot of things about the wing T. And I've done air raid, now I'm working more on defense because I'm an offensive coach. Defense is not my strongest suit. So I work a lot on that, but that's really easy for me. And then also I happen to know a lot of coaches, college coaches in my area, like especially for throwing. And I just talk with people about, especially if they're a little older than me and they've been more experienced than me, like, what do you think about this? Asking questions to anybody, I think it's the best clinic you can have. Just having a conversation with other people. And it's like, hey, I've done this before. Or somebody say, hey, this coach told me about this. And I'm like, I love that idea. So that, to me, is the easiest way to learn. I mean, sure, you can go to clinics, but YouTube, Vimeo, championship production stuff like that, I think they're really cool. But to me, just talking to people, like in this session, round table, we all have that coach that says, hey, I'm Zooming tonight. Who wants to go on? Me. If it's on like a Saturday night, 9 o'clock, hey, I'm home. Hey, let me in. So I like that kind of stuff too. You can't learn without other people. That's what I say. They can't learn. They're going to learn from you. You should learn from other people to help them learn their stuff as well. So, yeah, I don't know if anyone else have any other ideas than that, but that's to me. So, yeah, my coach for throwing is in the NHIAA Hall of Fame, and he's been coaching for 20 some odd years. He still coaches now, and I will call him, hey, what do you think about this? Then I would show him a video, like I meet with him and show him a video of one of my throwers, and he'd say, hey, you two think about this. I'm like, okay. So, yeah, I talk to people all the time, and people ask me questions all the time, and I like that. I like being able to help anybody. So, nothing's a secret with me. You're gonna know what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna just execute you and beat you that way.
All right, so I want to tweak this question a little bit. Todd and I both played football and basketball and baseball, and just having experienced a lot of athletes. But I kind of want to tweak this one a little bit. So I'm gonna make you a couple of different head coaches for a minute. You're a head football coach starting now. You just talked about a bunch of X's and O's systems. I'm curious. You can give yourself your ideal personnel, X's and O's. What would you run offensively? What would you run defensively? Let's start with football.
I already know football. Like I am dead set on this. My dream offense is the split back veer.
Oh.
I love option football. We run option football at the school I'm at. It's the greatest equalizer on the planet. And by the way, the best rushing offense of all time. And the longest streak was by Oklahoma. They were running a wishbone. With the spread, the explosion of passing offenses, they cannot win more games than Oklahoma did. I think it was 43 straight games in the 70s, something like that. So yeah, and my defense is 3-4, tight, or something what's called the mint package, which basically you just take out in the basic sense, you take out your strong outside linebackers and you put a safety in there. That's what Georgia runs for the most part. And Alabama starting to dabble in that a bit more. But yeah, but my thing is, I'm gonna put my best personnel on the field. So I try to do more like ideas and not exactly like schemes. So like I'm setting up my defense to where everybody has the same type of rules and thing up front. So I may be a 3-4, but what if I have 2 no tackles that I need on the field? Okay, but I gotta pick a linebacker out, put a big dude in there. Okay, outside linebackers rules don't really change. I just have maybe 1 outside linebacker, or maybe have 2 inside linebackers and 1 linebacker. I'm in a 4-2-5, or I'm a 4-3, or 4-4. I take out a safety and put in another linebacker. I'm in a 4-4, but it's the same kind of techniques up front, same blitz names, all that stuff. But then also with my split back view, if I have a quarterback, I have a run and shoot section to my playbook because it's only 4 plays, really. I can still run buck sweep, I can still run dives and traps out of it. I can get rid of the option to throw the ball around.
Well, now I got it.
And then I have to have a BYU West Coast offense section to my playbook. So if I have a gun for a quarterback, we're putting in a shotgun and sling the ball. But everybody kind of knows what they're doing.
Well, wait, so, I got to ask you, what movie What famous movie talks about the split veer, Coach?
Remember the Titan that looked like Novocaine?
That's right. I was just going to quote it for you. Just give it time. Always works.
Well, the most successful coach, one of the most successful coaches in the country is J.C. Curtis in Louisiana. They've been running it for God knows how long, and they've won half. I think they've been in like almost every title game for the last 30 years. So
all right,
they want to put back in the 3-4 defense.
So same question. Yeah, I make you a head basketball coach starting tomorrow. What are you running offensively? What are you running defensively?
Dream scheme of things. There'll be the J. Wright Villanova offense. At least with drive, you got two guys, kick it out. With maybe some Princeton offense type stats. I've always loved the Princeton, but I want to be able to run European ball screen type stuff. Not the motion offense. Maybe if I have two guys, two post players. That's my dream, to have two post players. Because you will never, I don't know if you can convince me otherwise, that championship teams are won with a post player. Can you name the last NBA team that won with 5 guards on the floor? Never.
No, that's true.
Never.
Yeah,
they don't have to score 15 points a game. Draymond. Didn't Pat Siakam won with Toronto?
This is true.
Do you think Michael Jordan won without Horace Grant and those guys? Look at right, Horace Grant and all those guys.
Well, he had
Shaquille O'Neal.
And
right?
then he had Dennis Rodman.
I'm a bit of a historian without a sport. So, in fact, I have a picture on my phone of a 50s Latvian javelin thrower up in the 50s. So that javelin throwing hasn't changed in 100 years. But yeah, I'm a bit of a sort of historian. I want to be able to run the ball. I want to be able to actually. I like to hold the ball on offense when we have the ball in both football and basketball. The football coach in me is like, I don't want to give a team an extra possession. So I love winning games 22-16, 7-0. I still won the game. Keep the basketball game in the 40s. Like I tell my guys, it's easier to win scoring 40 than scoring 50. If you have to score 50, you're probably giving up more points than the other team. But doesn't mean I want to play slow. So cut the ball, throw it. I want to run with pace. Cut the ball, throw it out there, make the defense play defense. But then if we don't have it, reverse the ball, run offense, and pass it around and play great defense. I mean, I kind of keep my defense as simple as possible and just outwork people on defense. And defense has kept me in a lot of games over the years. So even though I'm an offensive coach, work hard on defense and great things will happen for you. Full court man-to-man, I would like, but I do want to be able to throw a zone out there. And if we can't go man-to-man, 1-3-1, 2-3 zone. Had to put in a 2-3 zone last year with the JV team, and it sort of gave us a little renewed life on defense. So multiple defenses, a little bit of multiple offense. Again, depends on my personnel. I prefer to play 3 guards, 3 out, 2 in, the 4 out, 1 in. If I have to go 5 out, okay. I will make it a way to make it work. It'll probably only be like point series. I got the new Baylor video for Championship Productions, the pick and roll, and they like to keep their guy high. So I'm like, okay, stretch 4. I play offense at stretch 4. Knock it down for me, please. So yeah, you're not gonna see me without a post player ever. So I actually had freshman team I had 2 years ago. I had one kid 6'4" and the other 6'5". Never on the floor without a big guy. And I ended up having them again this year at the JV level, but oh yeah, I already have a lot of my ideas planned out. I'm more ideas than scheme because I'm kind of one of those where everything's kind of the same, that the window dressing's different. No, everybody runs a stagger screen, everybody can run an elevator screen. Like that hasn't changed. That really the scheme part of things hasn't changed in any sport in the last 50 years. That's how the window dressing's a little different. And I like to be able to make it look funny for you. But it's not easy for me.
It's too bad you don't have any energy, Coach. You're just so flat when you talk about it.
Yeah. And then I'm excited. I can talk X's and O's all day. I really study like back in the day. Like one of my favorite videos on YouTube is I want to say the 1968. One of my favorite playbooks in football is the 1968 Iowa State single wing playbook. And then I found a highlight film from like 1962. And I'm like, oh, that play. That was 12 feet. But that was 94. Like I can see them drawn up and them running it. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
So let's build on that a little bit. So give our listeners maybe one thing that a basketball coach could learn from a football coach, and one thing a football coach could learn from a basketball coach.
Yeah, I have been thinking about this question over the last whole day, because I'm trying to find a way to make it seem to make sense without insulting anybody. So I think what a basketball coach would be very surprised about is, at least for me, I can teach everything about a down block in a double team, but there's like different pieces to the double team. And okay, if this guy starts to do this, then I have to do this. Then now the running back has to make this read, right? And the fullback on a power play, the banana block, the banana pass. Okay, what happens when this guy does this? So how I like to equate that in basketball is, now I don't think that what I'm going to say is a knock on anybody. Basketball is a very fluid game. Football is not a fluid game. It's an archaic game in a sense. It's a barbaric game. But it's there a lot of detail. I'm not entirely sure if people are interested in talking about, let's just say about a down screen, a simple pin down screen. I can talk about a pin down screen by itself for half an hour. Like, that's my football coach to me. Like, okay, they're running this play. These guys are blocking it this way. The running back's looking at this hole. Okay, what's going to happen if we decide to, break this thing down and make it go outside? What's the answer to that? Right, so that's my little detail thing. So when I coached basketball, when I was a scout for a long time, like I was scouting before I actually got my first, head coaching job in there. And I could tell you what they're doing with their feet, with their hands, where they'd like to take some shots on offense. And that stems to me from my football days. I can remember a step play. So if we were to watch the basketball game right now, and I see a step play, I can draw it almost completely right from memory. And that's because I have to have all that detail from football. And basketball is a very fluid game. It's a very fast-paced game. It's a very fluid game. Football is a very slow game. And a 3-hour NFL game is only about 6 minutes of action. Everything is, okay, play done. I call the offense for the second team. So I'm like, okay, I got 25 seconds to think about, okay, I just started this. I just did this. Okay, I'm going to run this play next. And I give it to my quarterback, and he gives it to the line. I kind of think the same thing in basketball. I'm like, okay, this just happened. Okay, well, how are we going to make that adjustment to this? I don't want to say basketball is not detailed. I think basketball can learn a little bit more from actually just breaking down the little tiny pieces of an offense or defense. I'm actually kind of a believer that zone and man defenses aren't that different. They're exactly the same. Exactly the same. If you were to take the TV and pause it, can you tell what defense there is? No. So that's sort of like my simplicity to the game. And I actually kind of bring that simplicity to football as well. I said, hey, sometimes you just have to get that double team and take them that way. There's nothing I can teach you different to take him and get him in the end zone. So yeah, that's my thing here. Bring that basketball simplicity to football, and also bring a little bit of that small detail there. And I talk about a down screen. I can tell you, I got this from Bob Knight actually in a video. There's 5 things that can happen on a down screen. And so you can obviously get the catch and shoot with the cutter close to the basket, and the screen popped out. Also the cutter can get to the screen and then back off into a little fade catch. Or we have the second cut from the screener. Okay. Now, what little details can we do? Talk about this. How you set up your guy as your cutter. Okay. Are you taking him a little lower? Or are you coming into him? Maybe he's like trying to deny you. Okay. Take him in a little lower, and then you're going to come up. Or get into him like you're going to get the ball and then come off the screen. Okay. Now, maybe you're a screener. You're a screener. You have to read. You have to read the cutter defender. Is he way off? And he's going to take a quick cut on you? Like, you're not even going to set your screen. You got to set your screen a little earlier. And adjust your body. We ran the flex offense in this program, and I said, you got to headhunt your guy. Got to headhunt him. You can't just stand there and take a screen. You're gonna have to adjust it down to right here. You have to read the screener's guy and read the screener. He's giving you a lane. Gotta use it. So I asked some of you basketball coaches, like, can you dissect one part of an offense into every little piece? And I think that's the football coach in me. I don't know about that. And again, I'm not trying to say like basketball is not a detailed game. It's a very detailed game, but like I can just talk about a downstream. I can talk about a flex cut. Shut a flex cut. I would just work on shut the flex cut. And I have a video on my phone where we literally were out of the flex offense. We were in a motion. We finally got everything back together. One cut. The kid screened his own man. Layup. So I think a basketball coach can learn a lot from go follow your football team for a couple of weeks. Go to every practice, go to game, go see what the breakdowns we do and how we break down the structure, practice structure, individual time, 7-on-7, inside run period. I'm trying to add this stuff to me because I'm working on practice planning for myself. And yeah, how can we keep things moving, but yet they'll do a lot of teaching in a small amount of time. So I think that it's inherent to football. I think that's really apparent in football than the basketball. And again, with the fluidity of basketball, it can be very hard to pin down all the little details that we want to talk about. And I do a lot of 2-on-2, 3-on-3 to talk about those little details with them. So that's a long answer. I hope I didn't lose anybody, but
no, that's all right.
That's my.
I mean,
I
kind of
think
look
that's how the sport can happen to me. So that's how I see the game. Where the feet, how the screener angle looking, and sometimes I can say, hey, if he's angled this way, he's gonna run this way every time. So, and I can be like, and then I can call a play out before a team's doing it because I'm a huge scouting person. I got that from football. Like, hey, they're gonna run this. Hey, they're running this. And I can call out a play out, and then so, yeah, that's me. So that's how I see. That's how I think both sports can learn from each other.
All right, so in the game of football at every level now, there's a growing number of female football coaches, which is awesome at every level now. But how do we continue to improve that diversity, not only female, male, vice versa, typical, jobs that are like football has always been associated with men for whatever reason, and minorities as well. How do we continue to improve that diversity in all of our professions, right? Because everywhere you go, there's very distinct, this is how it's always been roles.
I think there's 3 parts to it. I think the first part, obviously, us female, we're pretty like, hey, help each other out. But I think, I think some girls, ladies, they can't be afraid to ask. I mean, I got coaching basketball because I knew the basketball coach and said, hey, I want to coach basketball. Yeah, because he was actually my sister's English teacher, and I actually went to school, and I've known him a long time. But I hang out with the jocks in school. I know him really well. So imagine if I didn't say, hey, I want to coach basketball. I wouldn't be coaching basketball or football. And so that's the first part. I think the second, I have 2 parts actually. Second part is taking that chance on somebody. It's easy to take a chance on like somebody we know and like, hey, come join. I mean, it's still a lot of good old boys club when it comes to this. It's not about who you know, it's who knows you. And again, I mean, how I got my freshman job 3 years ago was I was working at another school for another coach, and a good friend of mine just took from the boys JV job and got the girls varsity job. I'm hanging out with him, and my old boss comes in, my now boss. He said, I want to talk to you. I met him like a week later. And said, I want to give you the freshman job, and they're the only person I'm asking. Sure, I thought about it for about a week, 2 weeks, and I said, yeah, sure, I'll take it. So yeah, like I think people shouldn't be, afraid to be like, hey, I want to give this person a chance. But I think some girls need to, kind of stick their foot in the door and say, hi. I think there's a lot of people out there who are kind of like, am I enough? Do I want to? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Go get it. Go get it. And we can't be afraid to go get what we want. And I think it's a little bit of that. And I also think anybody who's looking for something different can't be afraid to say, hey, I want to give this person a chance. So I think it's that simple. And then, give everybody a chance like you would give anyone else, and, give us the responsibility like anyone else. And, and the best may happen for you. Find the best person on the staff and best person for your team. So, I mean, I'm always looking to improve myself and to get a better version of myself every day, and just like any other coach would.
All right, so kind of just to finish that topic off, just maybe a little bit of a different viewpoint. For you, is there ever a challenge in coaching boys, and whether it's football or basketball or track, or obviously just they probably had mostly men coaches in their day. Have you ever had a challenge coaching the guys?
I don't know if I call it a challenge as much as I always get those eyebrows. She knows football, she knows basketball. And then basically after I throw down that first perfect spiral, right at the end of the fingertip on like a bubble screen or something, or on a slant. Yeah, I'm in it. But I would also take the chance to get to know them and them to know me. Like I'm not the kind of person where I'm gonna put on this facade of like I know more than you. I'm always gonna say, hey, I want to help you get better, and just sort of have a regular type of correspondence that any other coach would have. And I've studied a lot, and hopefully they'll believe me and accept me for who I am, and I don't hide who I am. I'm 33 years old for the sake of this conversation, and my favorite singer of all time is John Denver. Okay, I listened to John Denver, Jim Croce, James Taylor. Okay, I was listening to John Denver before I came on. Okay, I was listening to Don McLean. It's Vincent, and I Love You So, and I don't listen to American Pie too long. I listen to Buddy Holly. Like I'm unashamedly myself. And then I ought to be like, hey, what can you teach me? Okay, like I want them to teach me the latest dance craze, right? And I'm still stuck on the whip lane, okay, which is like what 10 years ago now. I've been learning how to do the gritty. I'm kind of known in football and basketball, 2 separate schools for my gritty. Okay, and I have to do that at my school that I work at. There's 3 separate cities. I'm known for my gritty. Okay, I'm shit, you guys. Like I'm not afraid to kind of have a little bit of fun and maybe make a fool of myself like anyone else. But yeah, once they understand that, one, I played basketball, and 2, I've been coaching football for a long time now. And I think but at the same time, that's the same for everybody. Like if you don't know the game enough to teach it, you're not gonna have any connection. You're gonna have a challenge coaching them anyway. So I don't really think it's particularly new. But yeah, I'm pretty confident. I'm very authentic with myself. I'm not changing any day soon. So yeah, you get what you get. And I had to have a whole lot of fun doing it, and hopefully they have a good time doing it too. And I can teach them not just football, but have a long view of how to use football and basketball and track to be successful off the court, off the field. And that's my number one goal at the end of the day. Not just to make athletes, to make great student athletes that are going to go off and do bigger and better things in their lives, no matter what they do, whether they go to trade school, college, or whether they stay at home, whatever. So that's my goal as a coach. It's not necessarily teach them how to play sports, and I made that clear. Like I'm here to help you guys be the best version of yourself. So, and I have to do that for myself too.
John, I better see a social media video of you doing the gritty next year.
One of my freshman football players posted it on here. I actually have a couple of texts. Like parents were like videotaping it and sending it to me. Like, here, coach, I got it for you. I'm like, oh, dang. I sent it to you. I sent it to you. I'm pretty, yeah. And the last game of the year for the freshman team before we had our jamboree, it was a heck of a football game, back and forth. We had 2 goal line stops on defense, a blocked punt that went for a safety, and we hit a we hit a double reverse pass for a touchdown. Like, it was an awesome game. And we got out of the handshake line. All of a sudden, I thought, gritty, gritty, gritty. I'm in the middle, did the gritty. We all had a great time. And oh yeah, apparently it's stuff of legends now. So.
That's awesome. All right, so we want to transition to our last two segments here. First one is 30-second timeout. Anything you want to talk about, any subject, whatever's important to you. It's your dance floor, very loose 30 seconds. So whatever you feel like is important and you want to get to our listeners, go right ahead.
Okay, I have thought about this today, and I was watching it today. I think British television is way better than American television in every way, shape, or form whatsoever. Okay, I had watched like three episodes of Father Brown today, and I was watching the show by Alan Davis, and I watch QI every night. So even though I'm gonna go watch Law and Order when we're done, give me Father Brown, give me Inspector Morse. But my favorite show is actually an Australian TV show called The Dr. Blake Mystery. Okay, so any crime drama comedy, Britain's better. By all accounts.
I believe that's the first, John.
That is the first. We have never had a British television shout out.
I like it. That's awesome.
I have drip box. Now we're literally
all right.
Yeah,
so
you said favorite TV show. I'm putting my favorite TV shows out there. So
we want to move on to our last segment, which is quick hitters, which is just our opportunity to talk a little sports and a little coaching, but also just some random topics, have some fun with our guests. So we wanted to start off with your best trick play in football.
Best trick play in football? Kind of be, but I love me a good flea flicker.
Okay.
When I like to run the ball, so if you can get a chance to have the back, and the one play that we ran in the last game was essentially a flea flicker. I watched film the next day, and the guy's like, "Okay, guys, what play?" They knew exactly which clip it was. I'm like, all right, here we go. So I like a good flea flicker, I like a good reverse. I feel more like a double pass too. Anything requires an extra pass, I'm pretty good with that. So
I once ran the Statue of Liberty in a freshman football game. That was kind of fun. Stole it right from Boise State right after they did it. Like, let's run that. All right, so you can pick either sport: basketball, track, whatever, football. What is your pregame routine?
Pregame routine, I'm kind of interesting. I don't need a extremely long routine, but I like sort of having my routine of like, okay, I'm going through here. I flip a switch. I'm literally like a flip switch. I just flip my switch, and usually before the game, about 2 minutes, a minute and a half. In basketball, the buzzer goes off at 1 minute before the game starts. I'm pacing the sideline, kind of, getting my breathing in. Maybe I have a song in my head. Trying to keep me calm, cool, and collected, because I can be pretty, yeah. But no, but I'm also kind of I let my kids kind of set their own routine, because I don't think it's anybody's routine. But usually I'm on the sideline. I'm having a good time, chatting it up. And then once it's game time, I flip the switch, and yeah, I'm in. I've been an athlete for so long. It doesn't take me long to get into what I call witch mode. Change the W to a different letter. I'm like the world's most competitive person. Like if I lose, I can't eat. I can't socialize with anybody. Like I gotta go home. But if we win, I'm I like to humble it up and say, hey, good job, and have some fun with that. So yeah, that's my routine. I don't really call it a routine. Once the game starts, I'm in.
All right. So you just kind of mentioned some music. So what's the hype song, Coach? What are you listening to get you hyped up?
Normally I have a song kind of keep me low. Like
yeah, I don't
in my head, like Fire and Rain, Promises. But if a couple of songs are going to get me going, it'd be like I can't remember the song, but I think it's like Sweet Child of Mine Anything like that can get me completely hyped up. Or maybe even Enter the Sandman. But my problem is Enter the Sandman's a bit too long. It's about 3 minutes too long. Like before you get to that ending. But yeah, whatever the kids get hyped up. I love music. I'm very musically inclined. So yeah, anything that has a good beat, I'll hop along to it.
I'm gonna go out on a limb, Coach, and say you don't really need a lot of help getting hyped up. Just gonna throw that out there.
I'm in. Once it's game day and we're like getting ready for the game, like in the fourth quarter, the freshman game or whatever, I'm in it. I'm ready to go. And so I can kind of switch on and off between having a little fun and then getting into game mode. And I like cracking a joke in the middle of the game. If something happened, I'll be like, hey, I'm gonna do this. Like you have to be able to laugh at yourself even when you're being serious. So I'm not too that crazy on myself. But yeah, I'm already ready to go. I roll out of I go play golf. I'm gonna practice on the green 5 minutes. Boom, I'll have my short game in. They're like, how do you do that? I'm like, I practice every day. I don't need to get ready. I practice every day. So yeah, I'm also the one that practices my halftime speech in the mirror. And I kind of get a sense of how a game's gonna go. And then I think about the halftime speech in the second quarter. Like, we need to do this better. Or like the last game of the JV game, I said, you're either all in or you're not. And I was thinking about that because we're just making stupid mistakes. And I said, you're all in or you're not. And we ended up winning the fourth quarter. And we lost our quarterback. The only quarterback we had. We were stuck with 2 wide receivers, that quarterback, and trying to find different ways to make it work. And the offensive coordinator of that game did great. And we ended up taking a lead to start the fourth quarter. And then we ended up picking off a jet sweep pass that the other team tried to go in the corner a bit. And he started sprinting back. And fortunately, the ball was under throw, and he went up, took it with about 7 minutes left. We didn't score. We were up 22-16, but we took 5 minutes off the clock and pinned them inside the 30. And we were hoping to get a field goal, but we took a sack or something. And I turned to the OC and I went, go for the end zone. So yeah, so that was sort of that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm usually, yeah. But to go to the question, I'm all rolled up in a nice little package, ready to go. I just have to flip this switch.
All right, your favorite type of dessert. If you're gonna have a dessert, what are you gonna have? What are you going to?
Oh, anything. Cake. Okay. I have a new appreciation in life when I heard this sort of thing by Irma Bombeck, which I got from a British TV show, by the way, called QI. What happened is the host would say something at the end of the show. She said, seize the day. Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. Think of all the ladies who waved the dessert on the Titanic, who waved away the dessert cart. So enjoy some time. I love cake. I love going to crumble cookies. I love going to, I have a cookie sandwich with my snack every day. I mean, I have a monster sweet tooth. And I kind of wish I can go bake a cake right now. Chocolate, vanilla, strawberry frosting, whatever. Give me a cake.
I did not think that the question about dessert would lead to a Titanic.
No.
I am a very weird person. Okay, you will never know what you get with me, and I think that, yeah.
I know where this is going because of the British TV, but I'll just keep going. What's your favorite TV show to binge watch?
I sort of pick different shows that I want to, and it's gonna be usually a crime show. I love watching true crime documentaries, and anything to do with like psychology. I like watching Mythbusters. Like I'm watching that again. Whatever helps me to be a little bit smarter at the end of the day, I'm usually gonna watch it. It's either a documentary, biography, true crime. Yeah, I'm very interested in crime. Grotesque and macabre as it sounds. So
Awesome.
I'm very different things.
That's awesome. Well, Coach, we can't thank you enough for joining us. This is an awesome episode. Your energy is so contagious. It's great. And I like the fact that we just, we got it off of some different topics, and it was so much fun. So thank you so much for joining us.
I really appreciate you guys having me on. Like I said, you guys have some great guests on, and it's a humbling experience to have been included in a group and to be with you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the After the Timeout podcast, hosted by Todd Zazadil and Jon Plicky. For more show content and upcoming episodes, follow us on Twitter at After the Timeout, or subscribe to our podcast for upcoming episodes. For show inquiries, you can email us at afterthetimeout@gmail.com. You can find all of our previous episodes on Anchor, Spotify, Breaker, Radio Public, Pocket Casts, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts by searching After the Timeout. We appreciate you listening. Tune in next time for more coaching content in game, out of the game, and anything in between.